Hello guys, Banana Luck here and welcome back to another Watcher of Realms video. So today we are back with a review, or rather a spotlight, of the Duck Invocations hero, Falcia. Not sure if that's how you pronounce the name, but we'll take a look at her kit today and also see how we can get her first of all. So if you go under the notice new event preview, which takes place this upcoming weekend, you can see already that this whole layout is very similar to what we had with Captain Rifts, and Falcia can be tried for free in all six of these story modes. So this is the crawling duck event, and then I believe these are the extra challenges which probably grant you more gold or reward per attempt that you make. And yep, obviously Falcia is going to be one of the heroes that is recommended here, and I think the similarity that we see here is that all these units, all of them are units with true damage, and I already have two of them, so I don't think I'll be getting her, but more on that later. Then there's also other stuff here like artifacts and all that. And there's two other heroes which will be the focus here. So Calypso, we all know her already. And then there's Island, if I'm not wrong, that's her name. And the thing is, Falcia is limited, so she's only going to be able to be summoned through the Duck Invocations banner. So let's go through her skill kit now and see whether or not she's actually worth it for the average player to actually try to pull. So let's hit here, and you can see first of all she's from the Northern faction, so a bit odd if you ask me, because most of the Northern faction units are typically defenders. And we have King Haas as the only Lord, 5-star Lord now. I know there's another one on the Forerunner server, but I don't have access to that, so I don't know how he looks like, but I've heard some of the bigger content creators saying that with the new Lord, Falcia might actually be meta. We'll see about that. And Pansy is mostly defenders, healers, and then Shamir, which everyone hates. Nocturne is here, but bearing in mind that Nocturne also belongs to the Inferno faction, so that's okay. And that's normally where you use him anyways. And the rest is Brokia, Valkyra, and yeah, you can see that there's not much DPS units as opposed to what Falcia's kit is all about. You can see even in the quick subtext here, it's mixed damage, multi-strike attack, and true damage. So quite different from most of the typical Northern faction units. And she's 2 Tau, and I think cost-wise 19, that's pretty average. Attack is, I think, slightly on the lower end, not as high. But seeing that she does true damage, maybe that aspect of things will make up for it. But typically, most of the fighters I see about 5 to 6k range, so 4.5 is slightly lower than usual. And attack interval at 2.6, I think that's pretty average. But onto her talent. So first of all, after performing basic attack 20 times, she gains the Demon Slaying stance that lasts for 25 seconds. And on top of that, she actually gains specialized attack speed. So let's break it down bit by bit. What is Demon Slaying stance? So this is the portion of a kit that does true damage. So when paired with her ultimate Shadow Slash, you will deal 260% true damage 5 extra times. So it means that when she has this stance on, you should try to proc your ultimate as much as possible, because this is the only time that you can deal true damage, if I'm not wrong. And specialized attack speed is quite unique. I think she's the only hero that has it, so maybe that's why she has a base attack interval of 2.6. Because she does have this talent that can decrease her attack speed interval even further. And yeah, so you can see she's just all out attack speed as well as true damage. And then onto her single target attack, I think this is quite interesting. She does 75% normal damage and 75% magic damage to one enemy. So on first glance, it seems like, wow, 150% damage, that's quite a lot, but you have to take into account the fact that most units either have high magical defense or high physical defense. So I think it sort of cancels it out in the long run. And when you pair it with her kit that does true damage, I think that's the part that really shines in my opinion. So I don't know, maybe after testing her, we might see things differently, but from my perspective now, without doing any testing, it seems like this will not be too overpowered. And then onto our ultimate, Shadow Slash, it's manual, the rage cap can go down to 1100, which is pretty high, but given her attack speed and you build her with a bit of rage regen, I think it's fine. So she does normal damage 5 times and magic damage 5 times to one enemy. So not sure if this is 10 slashes, but if it is, then in Demon Slaying stance, that means that she's gonna deal. Maybe what it means, okay, so it doesn't count per slash, so it just means that she will deal 260% true damage 5 extra times. So I guess it's just stacking on top of what she's really doing here with 5 normal damage hits, 5 magical damage hits, and then 5 260% true damage hits. And I guess this goes up to 160% at max when you skill up ultimate all the way. And okay, I think this tries to synergize with her Northern faction bonuses, so giving her the shield. So when you have a Northern Lord in place, there's a potential that she can deal extra damage. And also, obviously in Demon Slaying stance, she has 50% extra damage, and at max, when she's shielded, that goes up to 40%, I hope. So I hope this increase goes both ways, on both when she's shielded and when she's in a special stance. And last but not least, when deployed, immediately enters Demon Slaying stance, and this lasts up to 25 seconds and 35 seconds at max skill up. So it'll be interesting to know if this increases her Demon Slaying stance in all forms, so on her talent as well, or is it just on first deployment that it lasts for 35 seconds? But given that her rage cap, her initial rage and rage cap is quite close, I can see her deploying and immediately dealing, her Shadow Slash with the true damage add-on. So she might be quite useful in certain parts where you need burst damage. So I guess maybe in some of the chapter 9 stages, I think trying to clear out some of the units quickly, I think she's probably able to do it as long as it's a single target. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all that we had to cover in terms of her skill kit. And I think one thing that one of the content creators, Fastidious, I think he pointed out in the content creators group chat, like, is it a bug that Falcia has 0 rage regen auto, which seems pretty odd because most units have them. Seems to be not a bug when the admins addressed it, so I guess you have to build her out with some extent of rage regen. If not, it's gonna be pretty hard for her to hit a rage cap in that sense. Okay, so enough with that, onto Awakening. So first one, interesting, gains a shield with the strength of 200% attack speed upon entering Demon Slaying stance, lasting for 10 seconds. So this synergizes with her talent, the her third skill, where she gets shielded, and she will actually get 40% extra damage boost. So getting shielded where it really matters, I think that makes sense. Awaken 2 is always basic attack, so 5% attack increase is pretty decent given how low her base attack already is. And okay, this one just further increases her attack speed, because when Demon Slaying stance, reduces attack interval by 20%. So that 2.6 is going to go down to 2.1-ish seconds. Increase crit rate. And the last one, when she is in... Okay, this sounds a lot like Valeria the moment I read it. So yeah, that's pretty much all the kit is all about. But given that she's an exclusive hero, I doubt anyone can get her to even to A1 unless you want to spend your soul stone on her. Or you're going to play this game long term and then she comes back in the next year. So getting her to A5 is probably not going to be the case. So I think overall her kit sounds interesting, but it's hard to know whether or not she actually is going to be a beast in terms of dealing true damage unless you actually test her out. And unfortunately, I don't have access to the Forerunner server, so I can't do that. And even then, I probably wouldn't have her, so it's tough to test it out unless you're on a test server. So yeah, I think overall, if you ask me, I don't think she's a necessity when you compare it to all the other decent fighters. I'm probably not gonna pull for her. I think the people pulling for her are probably gonna be the whales, who wanna collect every single hero. That's who I see pulling her. But just yeah, I mean she's not out yet, so probably there's no reviews. But the kid is interesting, but I think not enough to the extent that I would wanna pull 250 rare crystals and hope to get her, because haven't been the luckiest in the past few weeks, and I don't think it's worth it to actually pull for her because I'm looking for very specific heroes now. I think even if you're new to the game, I don't think it's worth it because there's so much other good fighters. Like take for example Zillitu. Even Abomination is decent. I think you can use him in much more places. Valeria, of course, she's top tier, and bear in mind that all these units, like Salazar as well, they're all from the right faction, which is the Nightmare faction or the Inferno section. Whereas, in Falcia's case, she's from the Northern faction, and I really don't see where she works out very well. So I think that's my main gripe with her, that she's in the wrong faction. But maybe with the new lot, that could be different. But if you ask me at this current moment, I don't think she's gonna make a big difference. Because you can say that, oh, she's all out single attack damage, so maybe she works well in the guild boss, but why would you waste space to actually put her when you can put one of the better nightmare units such as Wrath, Abomination even, Salazar, Zillitu, Valeria, so many other good options that you can pull normally that's not exclusive. So I just don't see where she fits in at the moment. Maybe in campaign mode, but other than that, it's gonna be really a tough justification for me to decide to pull her. But yeah, that's it for the video, guys. I hope you get a better idea of the hero and also have a better idea of who should pull for this, because in my opinion, majority of us who are low spenders or free-to-play players, you're probably not gonna want her. But that's it for the video, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you like the content, feel free to drop a comment, leave a like, or even subscribe to the channel, which will really be very helpful. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.